Unfortunately, in that case, this rule does not apply to you and you will not be able to work full-time or more than 20 hours. That happens, then you will have to redo all those courses and it will cost you around $2,500 to $3,000 per course that you have. This is basically what I would do if I was in your situation right now. What's up YouTube? It's Shivansh here. So by now, most of you guys must be already aware that the government of Canada has announced that international students can now work full-time or more than 20 hours per week. Now this is a great news for all international students in Canada, but there is still some confusion among students and some people are not sure whether they are allowed to work full-time or not. And even if you are allowed to work full-time, whether it is a good decision for you or what are all the pros and cons of working full-time or working more than 20 hours per week as per this new rule. But don't worry, we'll discuss all the details about this rule in this very video, and we'll also discuss some scenarios in which it might be worth it or it may not be worth it for you to work full-time or to work more than 20 hours per week. And I will also tell you, if I was a student today and if I were in your shoes, then how would I approach this situation and how many hours will I actually work if I'm eligible to work full-time during my studies. But before we begin this video, please make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel, because your support is extremely important for the growth of my channel and it gives me the motivation to create more such videos for you. With that being said, let's start this video. Okay, so first of all, what is this new rule? Now, the government of Canada announced in October 2022 that all international students in Canada will be allowed to work full-time or more than 20 hours per week starting November 15th, 2022, and they'll be able to work full-time until December 31st, 2023. So for almost 1 year, you'll be allowed to work full-time and there'll be no restriction on how many hours you can work, unlike before where a student could only work for maximum 20 hours per week off campus. Now, even though there is no specific number of hours mentioned by the government, but generally in Canada, full-time work means that you are allowed to work as many hours as you want. But this rule is not applicable to every single international student. There are 3 categories of students who are allowed to work full-time as per this rule. The first category is of students who are already studying in Canada and they are already doing a part-time job. So those students are allowed to work full-time until December 2023. The second category is of students who already have an approved study permit along with a work authorization, but they are not in Canada yet. So this can include students who are already studying online or taking their online classes from India or from their home country, and they'll be coming to Canada in the near future. These students are also allowed to work full-time until December 2023. The third category includes all the students who have applied for a Canadian study permit on or before 7th October 2022. Now, this does not mean that your application needs to be approved. It just means that you need to submit your application by 7th October 2022 and your approval can come in at some point in the future. However, if you have submitted your study permit application after 7th October 2022, then unfortunately in that case, this rule does not apply to you and you will not be able to work full-time or more than 20 hours per week, at least as per the current rules. Now, this also includes applications for extension of your study permit, and also if your previous study permit application was rejected, then this also includes any re-applications or new applications after your rejection. So if you fall into any of these categories and if you have submitted your application after 7th October 2022, then you will not be eligible for working full-time or more than 20 hours per week. Now, please keep in mind that this is true as per the current rules only, and these rules might change in the future. So I would suggest you to subscribe to my channel and also follow me on Instagram at Singla119 so that you don't miss out on any new updates. Okay, so now that we understand what this rule is all about and who is eligible, let's try to look at a few different scenarios in which it might make sense for you to work full-time or more than 20 hours per week if you are eligible for it. In my opinion, there are 4 different situations in which it is justified to work more than 20 hours per week. Situation 1 can be that you have to pay for your next semester's tuition fee or your next year's tuition fee, but you are not able to save up enough money by doing just your part-time job, your on-campus job, and your co-op internship or your GIC money. So if that's the case for you and you're not able to save up enough money, then this rule will be a blessing in disguise for you, because now you can work as much as you want and you can work those extra hours to earn more money in order to cover up the remaining part of your tuition fee for the next year or for your next semester. Now, situation 2 is if you want to pay off your student loan as soon as possible, because maybe your interest rate is too high and you don't want to wait until you graduate and once you get a full-time job in order to start paying off your student loan amount. Now, this is also a very common situation because a lot of students take student debt or student loans in order to come and study in Canada, and the interest rate for these loans are extremely high, and it probably makes more sense to get rid of this loan as soon as possible. So if this is the situation for you, then again this rule is a blessing for you, because now you can work as many hours as you want and start paying back your student loan as soon as possible. Another situation can be that you need to send back money to India or back to your home country because you want to support your family back home. If that's the situation for you, then this rule is definitely a great news for you, and you should make the best use of it to earn more money and send it back to support your family. Now, finally, another situation in which it might make a lot of sense to work full-time based on this rule is if you are able to find a full-time job in your field while you are a student that will also help you once you graduate. Now, this might be a great opportunity for you to get a full-time job in your field even before you graduate, and later on once you graduate, they might also offer you a permanent role at the company, which will also help you with your PR application. So it makes a lot of sense to work full-time in this case. Now, some examples of this could be, let's say you are studying a web development or mobile application development course, and because you are already so good at it and you have a good resume and a good profile and some good projects to showcase your knowledge and your ability to create some awesome mobile apps or websites, then in that case a company might offer you a full-time role as a web developer or as a mobile applications developer, and this can also help you with your PR later on. Another example could be that you're into marketing and you're doing a marketing related course, and since you're so good at marketing that a company might offer you a full-time job even if you are a student, and that you can continue once you are done with your studies and after you graduate. Now, there are also some situations in which it might not make sense to work full-time even if you are allowed to work as many hours as possible. Now, one of such examples can be that if your full-time job is not allowing you to focus properly on your studies. So let's say you work in a retail job such as in the food industry, or if you're working at a warehouse or at a factory, then all of these jobs are physically very demanding, and by the time you're done with your 8-hour long shift, you'll be pretty exhausted and you won't be able to do a lot of other things on that same day. Because once you get home after such a long day, you will also need to take out some time to rest and recover. And you will also have to take out enough time to work on your weekly assignments and quizzes. And maybe you will also get some projects to work on depending on which course you choose. So all of this can very quickly become exhausting and overwhelming, and eventually one of two things will happen. One, you will have to reduce the number of hours that you work in your job because it just becomes too tiring to do all this every single day. Or two, your grades will start dropping or you will stop focusing much on your studies. Now, this second scenario is actually very critical because there is a lot at stake. Once you come to Canada to study as an international student, there is obviously a lot at stake. You have spent so much money to study here, and if you don't perform well in your assignments and your quizzes and projects, then eventually your grades will start dropping and you might just not pass one or more subjects. And if that happens, then you will have to redo all those courses, and it will cost you around $2,500 to $3,000 per course that you have to repeat. And in addition to spending money, you will also have to spend some extra time in order to finish your course and to actually graduate. So in this scenario, it does not make sense for you to work full-time or overtime because you will not be able to focus properly on your studies, and it will actually take you even more time and money in order to graduate and get into a better paying job and just to settle down in Canada. The second scenario in which it does not really make sense to work full-time or overtime is if you want to work more number of hours so that you can earn more money, just so that you can afford to buy a car, an expensive phone, or maybe upgrade to a luxurious condo or an apartment. Basically, if you want to earn more money just so that you can have a more luxurious lifestyle as a student, then in that case, it is not really a smart decision. If you do this, especially as a student, then you will be stuck in a vicious cycle because the money will never be enough. You will always increase your expenses beyond what is really needed, and then you will work more number of hours just to earn more money in order for you to cover those increased expenses. So if that's really your motivation to work full time, then you should definitely rethink your decision. My advice for you will be to spend your time wisely during your college years. You need to decide what is more important for you and what is the best use of your time. As a student, you need to spend more of your time and energy networking with people in your industry, finding co-op opportunities or internships, and also learning some extra skills in addition to your regular coursework that will help you get a higher paying job later on once you graduate. You need to invest more of your time in acquiring skills and doing certifications that you can put up on your resume and also on your LinkedIn profile, and this will actually help you kickstart your career. So please invest your time wisely during your college years, because it will give you a far greater return than whatever amount of money that you will earn by working more than 20 hours per week or working full time during your college days. And also, please don't get caught up in these short-term gains, because even if you are working full-time or more than 20 hours per week based on this new rule, you are still working a minimum wage job. You are only earning $15 or $16 per hour, which is not really sustainable in the long run, because as you know, things are becoming so expensive in Canada. Inflation is highest it's ever been, and if your mindset is just stuck in a minimum wage job, then unfortunately you will not really be able to live a good life in Canada. Instead, your aim should be how to earn $30, $40, $50 or $60 per hour in Canada, and what can you do right now in order to get there in the future. And this is basically what I would do if I was in your situation right now. If I was a student and if I was allowed to work full time or unlimited number of hours, I would only try to work maybe 25 or 30 hours per week, because that would enable me to earn enough money just so that I can afford to live a decent life in Canada as a student, where I'm able to pay off my monthly expenses and I'm also able to save up for my next semester or my next year's tuition fee. And I would not really work for 50 or 60 hours per week in a minimum wage job as a student, because it will not really be useful in the long run, and I would rather spend my time and energy on acquiring skills and doing certifications that would help me earn a lot more in the future. So long story short, it's a great news that international students are now allowed to work full-time or unlimited number of hours, but it is your responsibility to identify your situation and make the best use of your time. Your time is a far greater resource than the extra money that you will earn, so please spend your time wisely, and it is important for you to look at the bigger picture and have a vision for yourself and then decide what you should do with your time today. That's all I have for you today. I hope you guys found this video to be useful. If you have any questions, then feel free to comment below, or you can also reach out to me on Instagram at Singla119, and I'll be happy to answer all your questions. Please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel to watch more such videos about studying and working in Canada, and I'll see you guys in the next video.